Why, hello there, everybody. Welcome. I hope you're having the best day of your life. I'm having a great day. I'm getting ready to move. I'm getting ready to start a new job at a new local gym where I will be handling the nutrition. I'll be handling the nutrition side of things. They want me doing seminars. And basically, yeah, I'm so excited. Like it's been a while since I've worked in person with people. Been doing a lot of online stuff for a long time, so I'm really excited to do some more in person work again. It is my true love in this job. Cool. So before we really dive in and before we really get started, I just gotta say, I've still got a couple spots left for those metabolic assessments and the build my diet assessments. I've only got 3 spots left for you to hop on a strategy call with me personally to get a one-on-one chat of how we can actually construct your plan. Someone who jumped on the opportunity right away last week messaged me this morning and they're already 2 pounds down. So it works and they're getting lots of value from it. I know you can too. So if you want to know more about that, if you want to know more about the strategy calls, message me, DM me on Facebook or comment below and let's chat and I'll see if I can help. Without further ado, we're just going to get into the video now. So oftentimes we hear the advice, eat less, move more. But not only is eat less, move more, it's not only useless advice, it's often dangerous advice for a lot of women. And so today I'm talking about exactly what to do instead to lose 25 pounds and add shape and tone to your body. So here's the thing. A lot of people, a lot of women especially, will hear the phrase, will hear the advice, just eat less and move more. And that's how you'll melt fat off your body. And it's like, and then they try that. They eat next to nothing. They dive down to 1,200 calories and they feel like garbage. They feel awful. And then eventually they hit a plateau. They get frustrated. The weight's not coming off. They try a calorie deficit. It's the weight's not coming off. And then they try to move more. Some women, some clients came to me after doing 7 days a week, twice a day training sessions, and still weight's not coming off. Like, what's the deal? And then what worked before isn't working now. What they tried before isn't working now. The stuff that they were trying, just nothing seems to work anymore. It's harder than it ever has been before. Maybe they've lost weight a few times, gained it back, lost some weight, gained it back. And every time they do this, they go through the cycle. It gets harder and harder to actually maintain and harder to do long term. And then they get told by all the gurus online saying, oh, you know what? You just need to want it more. You just need to work harder. But here's the thing. What good is the advice of just work harder if you're working hard at the wrong thing? Only for then those gurus to again say, oh, you just got to work harder. You don't want it bad enough. Here's the thing. The average woman will make 121 diet attempts in their lifetime. Like, that tells me that women are sick of feeling a certain type of way and they want it really bad. Like, I'm willing to try 121 times in my life until the day I die bad. Wanting it bad enough is not the issue. Working hard isn't the issue. And the struggle is born of ignorance, right? When you're struggling with something, more often than not, it has nothing to do with the task being insurmountable or undoable, but rather there's this gap of understanding somewhere in your mind. And filling that gap with the correct information is what gives you that, oh, got it moment. And then now suddenly working harder just became incredibly easy. It's no longer a matter of working harder, but now we can actually do it. And it's easy, right? We've all been there. We've all been in this situation. We've been beating our heads against the wall and then just like again and again and again, we try and we don't get anywhere. And then something clicks in the mind and you go, oh my God, that's what I've been missing this whole time. And now suddenly you feel stupid for not knowing that before, right? We've all been there. So next time you're struggling with something, ask yourself, what would this look like if it were easy? And to add on top of that, in many cases, the perception of difficulty is the thing that's making it difficult, right? Like, for example, I hate running. And so if I get in this mindset of when I run, I hate it. It feels awful. I despise it. I get shin splints. It's not comfortable. I get out of breath. Oh my God. Like, what's going through my head through like a 5K run is, oh, this sucks. I'm suffering right now. And like, I'm not a runner. And then when I finally get back, I'd be like, you know what? That was miserable. I don't want to do that again. And I never run again. Right. But here's the thing, the amount of times that on a long run where I've been like having that thought process go through my head, and then I've stopped and suddenly went, you know what? It's not that hard. What I'm doing is not difficult. I'm putting one foot in front of the other. I've been doing that my whole life. I'm just doing it slightly faster than I usually do. Come on, Chris. You got this. Every time I make that switch in my head, the pain almost immediately goes away and the suffering becomes tremendously easier. My breathing gets more relaxed and I become a lot better at doing the thing that I'm doing. And here's the thing, your brain is not your friend when you're trying to make changes in life. So this video is geared towards how to lose 25 pounds and keep it off for life as simple and easy as possible. That way, you no longer have to rely on your mind, which is going to try and self-sabotage you at every single turn. So here's exactly what you need to do to lose 25 pounds, add shape and tone to your body, and keep the results forever without giving up the foods you love or losing your mind in the process. First things first, I'm going to need you to ignore and stop doing everything you see on social media and start doing the simple 3-phase process. This will work for you regardless of your age, regardless of your hormones, regardless of your gut health, perimenopause, menopause, PCOS, insulin resistance. This has worked for hundreds of women in our coaching program for over a decade. And I want you to have it too so you can see awesome results as well. Any body transformation has to be done in phases. Unless you're a complete beginner, attempting to burn fat while adding muscle at the same time will just keep you in the same cycle and stuck forever. And anyone who uses the word body recomp should be ignored. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. Your body cannot build something from nothing. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. Your body cannot create something out of nothing. If you're not consuming enough calories to build muscle, then you won't build muscle. But if you're also eating in a calorie deficit, if you're not in a calorie deficit, then you won't lose fat. So therefore, they counteract each other. You cannot gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. So it should be done in phases. So in our coaching program, we have 3 phases. Phase 1, we're calling it the earn it phase or the foundations phase. And we have to start this by assessing yourself, right? How's your sleep? How's your stress? How's your hunger? How's your hormones? How would you rate your metabolism? Like a roaring furnace, or I just gain weight looking at pizza, right? How's your digestion, your energy levels, your nighttime snacking, your cravings? How's your environment, right? How are these things affecting you? How are these kind of arranged in your life? And when was the last time you took an intentional break from dieting and intentionally fed your body more rather than less? The first place to start in this phase is we're creating this aura of safety within our body, building the foundations of health and establishing habits and routines and structure to support healthy fat loss. For a lot of women, this means a reverse diet to bring you back to homeostasis, managing your stress levels, refocusing your hormone levels. And this means you won't be losing weight at first. For some people, it might just last a few weeks. For some people, you won't lose weight for 4 to 6 months. And hey, if you're still here watching this after I just said that, congratulations on being an adult who wants to do this the right way instead of gaining and losing the same 20 to 30 pounds over and over and over and over again. You need to feed your body in a way that creates a safe internal environment to support fat loss. Fix your relationship foods so the scale, social events, and cravings no longer have a hold on you, and then restore hormonal harmony within your body so that you can make the fat melt off sustainably and effortlessly. And while doing this, you should be trained to build a solid foundation of muscle. And once all of that is in place, then we can create a fat loss plan that suits your schedule, needs, and preferences without sacrificing date night or giving up your favorite foods. And the reason why it's going to actually work is because now you have a roaring metabolism that's built upon a rock solid internal foundation that supports fat loss and works with you rather than against you. Once all that is in place, we can then move into phase 2. This is the fun part. This is the part you came here for, right? This is called burn it. Phase one is all about earning the right to burn fat. Now we're going to phase two. Now we burn it, right? And to lose fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. What that means is at the end of the day, you're simply burning more calories than you're consuming. This forces your body to pull energy from calories that is stored in your body since it's not getting enough energy from food to sustain itself, thus burning body fat. If you overconsume calories, then your body has no reason to tap into its own stores for energy since you're providing enough as it is with your food. As a starting point, find your calorie deficit. Take your goal body weight and multiply that by 12. Plug that into Chronometer or MyFitnessPal or whatever app you're using. I like Chronometer because it shows me all the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. So if you're like, hey, I've been having headaches for a couple of days, really bad migraines, and like I get lightheaded when I stand up, and you scroll back through your Chronometer app and you're like, oh, look, it turns out I'm low in sodium, magnesium, and iron. That explains a lot. Maybe I should start adding foods that contain those into my diet to fix that problem, right? That's why I like Chronometer, because MyFitnessPal doesn't do that. I haven't seen a lot of ones that do that. So that's why I like Chronometer. Definitely prefer that. But whatever you use to keep track of, multiply your body weight by 12 and plug that number into Chronometer. And that's where we're going to start point. Just ignore the recommendations that the app has. They're trash and they're not personalized to you. If you're on the shorter side, take your current weight and multiply that by 10. And that tends to be a little bit more sustainable for the shorter ladies. Whatever the number is, you do not have to hit this number perfectly each and every day. You just have to be in a range of it consistently to actually see results. So if your goal is 1,800 per day, for example, then anywhere between 1,600 and 2,000 is perfectly acceptable. The most important thing after that, after you get your calorie number, the next important thing is protein. Outside of calories is the one thing that matters most for your goals. So here, you're going to take your goal weight in pounds, multiply it by 0.7 to 1. And this is your daily target. Another way you could do this is also just take your height in centimeters and aim for that each day. That's a pretty good general rule overall, but the 0.7 to 1 is a little bit easier to track, is a little bit more accurate, but it's a little bit harder to track and more math, right? Or you can take your height in centimeters and just aim for that each day. Super simple. Either way, the more protein you consume, the better your progress is going to be. You cannot overconsume protein unless it puts you over your calories. And natural protein helps combat hunger and cravings more than anything else you can eat. Your protein goal along this journey will never change. It should stay the same unless you're trying to build muscle, and then you're just going to weigh more. In which case, then yes, you're going to need a little bit more protein, but not much. But that's going to be the same, stays the same throughout the entire journey. For carbs and fats, it truly makes no difference. Mix and match to your preferences. Your eating is supposed to fluctuate day to day according to real life. So it doesn't really make sense to get super locked into specific numbers here. Just calories and protein are the only two numbers you really need to keep track of. So yes, by the way, this means you'll have to track your food. But you don't have to be perfect. Remember that. You do not have to be perfect. It's not about being perfect. You just need to be consistent. And what consistency looks like is at least 80% of the time you're on track. There's 20% of leeway where you can kind of bounce up and down and maybe fall off and you're still going to be on plan. What I'm looking for is, are you at least 80% consistent? Tracking makes that substantially easier. And the skills you gain from tracking, like understanding portion sizes, will benefit you for the rest of your life. So just start by tracking one meal a day and build on that. Again, it's not about being perfect. One of the best tips I can give here, though, is to track your last meal first. So track dinner first, and then over time work backwards. And that way you're not scrambling at the end of the day to try and fit your protein and calories, to look at your Chronometer and go like, oh man, I still have like 60 grams of protein to get and like 300 calories. Like, how am I going to do? I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm just ate dinner. There's no way I can eat that much food, right? So I'd rather you actually start from the end and work backwards, because then you can just fill the gaps as you go rather than panic at the end of the day. And the idea with this here is to make awareness of your eating value to you, right? And you can't cultivate values by setting the bar way too high and then constantly falling short of this bar that was unrealistic to begin with, which then leads you feeling like a failure. So just start with one thing, start with one meal, start from the back, start from dinner, and just kind of work your way backwards over time. The idea is not to be perfect. And we're just trying to create awareness of the food you're eating and make it so that awareness is of value to you, right? So we're going to bring that bar to you rather than trying to force yourself to the bar. And periodically over time, as you acquire more and more skills and get better at what we're doing, then the more we can move and go higher to your level, right? We can move that bar higher as you get better rather than set the bar here and you're just always falling short because it was unrealistic to begin with. But if you're here and we set the bar here, well, then you can hit that bar, hit that bar, hit that bar. Okay, you get really good at hitting that bar. Let's set the bar a little bit higher. And we just keep getting higher and higher, right? So just commit to one meal per day and build from there. If you really don't want to track your food, just gravitate towards more natural, dense foods, like nutrient dense foods, stuff like that. Fruits, vegetables, the stuff that's on the perimeter of the grocery store, right? Fruits, vegetables, meat, eggs, milk, yogurt, whole grains, fish. You get the picture. Try and do the bulk of your grocery shopping on the perimeter of the grocery store, and you'll basically be sticking to the whole foods the entire time. And among these choices, just keep trying to aim for higher protein dense foods and fiber rich foods. High fiber and high protein foods are both very filling, so you don't feel hungry throughout the day, and you're just much less likely to overeat. And along with these, tend to be the most full of nutrients like vitamins and minerals. So not only are you kind of fighting hunger, you're also you also feel incredible on the way with more energy, better digestion, less bloating, better gut health, better hormone profile, and you're sleeping better, just overall better state of being simply because you're actually feeding the individual cells in your body the nutrients they need to operate at a higher level. And unpopular opinion here, based on over a decade of experience, keep processed foods sprinkled into your nutrition from time to time. We don't want to feel so restricted that you end up binge eating and then feeling like a failure. I've seen that happen way too many times. Sprinkle them in to maintain your sanity so you can actually follow through for the rest of your life. And keep asking yourself, if I can't eat this way for life, then the results I get from it aren't going to last either. So if you're somebody who loves carbs, but you go on the keto diet, you're probably not going to last very long because carbs are delicious. They're incredible. Like, I love ice cream. I love me some Oreos. An Oreo Blizzard, get out of here. Like, I'm all over that. Wendy's just released like a white chocolate strawberry frosty and is like incredible. It is heaven in my mouth, right? Like, I'm not going to cut carbs from my day because cutting that out from my life would be insane. I love that. It is delicious. And I have it like probably once or twice a week, and I'm still able to reach my goals. Like, that's the beauty of it, is if we do it right and you don't try to restrict yourself, then you can actually just continue on the plan throughout the entire process for the rest of your life. And it's incredible. And so if you can't eat this way for life, then the results that come with it aren't going to last either. So steps. The next thing you want to keep track of is your step count. The reason this is so impactful for fat loss is because it's just an overall indicator of your overall lifestyle, right? Even if you work out 7 days a week, you're still missing out on a huge opportunity to burn more fat by not walking. A workout is at most only 4% of your entire 24-hour day. The overall activity throughout the day is a far better predictor of fat loss. So download the Steps app, track for a week, take the total across all 7 days, divide that by 7, and now you have your average daily step count. Now, over time, you're just going to try and beat that average over time, right? So right now, if you're at an average of 3,500 steps a day, then set your new goal to 3,750, and then 4,000, and then 4,250, and so on and so forth. And just each week, try to beat that average. And one of the most common traits of all the longest living, healthiest societies on this planet is that they walk a lot, and they are healthy, and they are actually energetic far into their later life. So committing to these micro commitments is how you build that trust in yourself and follow through with the promises you make to yourself and integrate these values that will stick with you long after you get the results you're after. And the great thing about this is that when you hit a plateau, and you will, then you can increase your activity rather than starving yourself more, right? Rather than taking away calories, rather than taking away energy, rather than taking away nutrients, you can just increase your steps and keep the fat loss going. Next, we're going to talk about strength training. Look, if you want an awesome body, you need to be strength training, and there's no way around that. And unfortunately, no Orange Theory, boxercising classes, Zumba classes, none of those are strength training. Anything that like, and it just moving around a bunch while holding dumbbells in your hand is also not strength training. It's just cardio with weights in your hand. The same with like a kettlebell class. It's not strength training. You need to embrace the difficulty of actually trying to get stronger. Not only is muscle the thing that shapes and tones your body, it's also the thing that speeds up your metabolism to make fat loss burning pretty much happen by accident. It also combats muscle loss as you age, supports strong bones and joints. So women going through menopause or perimenopause, you're more likely to risk to develop osteoporosis, which is the weakening of bones as you age. Strength training helps combat that. It supports strong, like it'll make playing with your kids a million times easier because picking them up literally takes less effort, and it directly reduces stress and improves stress tolerance, as well as it's one of the most powerful ways to combat insulin resistance, better than any drug ever could. Muscle is literally labeled as the organ of longevity. And I'm not interested in just adding more years to women's lives if you can't actually enjoy them. And that's what muscle is going to help you do. A lot of women want to tone and shape their bodies. Well, that's what tone is. Tone is the shape and definition of what muscle is left over after you've lost the body, the fat off your body. So the more you lean away from the myth that lifting weights is going to make you bulky and manly, which is false anyway, and lean further into the truth of what strength training can actually do for you and the quality of your life, the more you're going to get from it and the faster you're going to get it. When training, it is crucial to actually push yourself. I cannot tell you how many times I've trained a client and they swore they couldn't do any more. And then when I worked with them, they were able to get 14 more reps out of that set. It's ridiculous. Like a lot of people, especially women, are just afraid to push hard in the gym. And that's part of why they keep staying stuck. That's why you can see the same people in the gym for years on end and nothing has changed in their body because they've never actually pushed themselves to where their body needs to adapt. And that's the thing. If your body can do the task that you're asking it to do without adapting, then it won't, right? If you can lift 100 pounds 5 times pretty easily, then your body has no reason to get stronger. You need to, week after week, go from 100 pounds to 110 to 120 to 130 to 145 to like, right? You need to actually increase the weight, increase the intensity, increase the difficulty. Otherwise, your body has no reason to change. If your body has no reason to change, it's not going to. Right? Each week, you should be able to add more weight for the same amount of reps, especially as a beginner. Like as a beginner, you can add more weight for a lot of exercises for 4, 6, 8, 12, 16 weeks straight for a lot of exercises, especially the bigger exercises like the squat, the bench, the row, deadlift, stuff like that. You should be able to add weight every single week for a long time if you're a beginner. Even as somebody who's an intermediate, you can still add weight almost every week. As a beginner, you can almost do it every workout, but as an intermediate, every week or every other week should be no problem. And even advanced people will be able to add some weight every few weeks. Like you have to chase doing more. Otherwise, your body will not give you more. Right. And as moms, I highly, highly, highly recommend work out in front of your kids, so they can also adopt that value as a normal part of their life. Like they need to see mom working out, even if you're just doing lunges around the living room while they watch Blippi, Bluey, or Peppy the Pig, whatever it is. Like get them involved. Let them see that. Let them see what a strong super mom actually looks like, not just leave them, right? And like I would actually say, now that I'm about to become a dad, I'm at the point where I'm like, I would actually rather, like if you're going to go and if we're chasing two different things, right? If before I was talking about you need to push yourself, you need to do more weights, you need to add more weights and reps and sets and stuff like that to actually progress. But if we have to trade off that perfect kind of ideal plan, well, that in order to go in front of your kid and teach them, I'd rather go in front of the kid and teach them what proper things are going to look like, right? And always remember that 3 workouts a week is always better than 0. And one workout is infinitely better than 0. Like by definition, infinitely better than 0. So even if you just work out once a week, Push yourself, dedicate time to commit and push yourself and push those limits. But just always keep in mind that if optimal is not practical, then it is no longer optimal. So one of the questions you have to ask yourself is, what will you do? What are you willing, ready, and able to commit to? And then pick those things and go. The scale. I want to talk about the scale because this is a mind fuck for a lot of women. Look, when you weigh yourself during your monthly menstrual cycle, really matters. Make sure that you're comparing your weight from this week to the exact same week in comparison to your last cycle, because your weight already fluctuates a ton like day to day and week to week. And you're just setting up yourself up for a panic attack if you don't keep track of when along your cycle, because you're when in your cycle drastically dictates how much water you're holding on to. Also, make sure you're weighing yourself the same time of the day in the same clothing. And to kind of talk about the scale for a second, there are a lot of things that can influence the scale. And like number one, like carbs and salts. 1 gram of carbohydrates is a 4-gram water retention, right? So, did you eat more carbs yesterday than you usually do? Your good body's going to hold on to more weight. It's not body fat. You didn't magically gain 2 pounds of body fat overnight. That's basically impossible, right? But what you might have done is you might have had maybe a few more carbs. And so you're holding on to more water. And so now you're going to be weighing more. That's not a bad thing. The number on the white little box that you stand on is not a good, accurate representation of your day-to-day progress. Salt does the same thing. If you have a bad night's sleep, you're going to have more inflammation. More inflammation, you're going to hold on to more water. You're going to weigh more. Stress, same thing. Have you pooped yet? Like, do you just have more poop in your system and you haven't let that go yet? That's a reality. Did you eat later last night than you usually do? Okay, well then yes, you are actually going to hold on to, you just have more food in your stomach, in your digestive system. Of course you weigh more, right? Again, where in your menstrual cycle are you ovulating? That's another time that your body can go up a pound or two. Did you have a hard training session? Again, kind of going back to inflammation. When you work out, you create inflammation in those joints, in those muscles. And like, I can almost like clockwork after every hard lower body day, like a leg day. The day after, I am almost always 2 to 3 pounds heavier. It's not body fat. It's not like I can look back at yesterday and be like, no, I ate perfectly to my plan and I didn't fall off at all. I'm still up a couple pounds, probably the inflation, probably carbs, XYZ, right? I just had a hard training day. And so my body is like, oh God, and just trying to recover. That's all it is. But all of them play a role in daily fluctuations. And so what matters is the overall trends week to week. Because of those things, the scale is a really terrible day-to-day measure of progress. Instead, I recommend bi-weekly weigh-ins while doing a waist circumference measurement daily instead. This way you get a visual reading on actual measurements of your body, and you can actually get a gauge of how certain foods might cause bloating. So you get nutritional feedback too as to what foods actually, how they actually affect you, because some foods you might not feel like energy wise a difference, but your body might get bloated simply because of certain food you ate, XYZ, right? Like, so now you're going to get bloated that way. So I'd rather you actually take like weekly at the most frequent, bi-weekly at the least frequent is kind of what I would say. And just gauge the trends overall. Like week to week, month to month, are you losing weight? Not day to day. If you rely on the scale for day-to-day progress as your main unit of measurement for progress, that's a problem. That's going to cause problems. That's going to screw with your head, and you're probably going to get frustrated and you're probably going to quit. So don't rely on that. Let's rely on other things. How much energy do you have? How much sleep are you getting? Are you a better parent now because of this? Is your gassing and bloating reduced? How's your mood lately? Like, do you feel like you're actually how are your clothes fitting? All these sort of things matter more than the day-to-day scale progress. And I know a lot of when it comes to, speaking of fat loss, let's get back to that. As we're losing the 25 pounds, speaking of fat loss, here's an uncomfortable truth, an unfortunate truth that you're probably going to immediately try to reject. You should only be losing about 0.5 pound to 1 pound a week during this process. And I know a lot of women out here are probably going to consider that extremely slow and not enough. But any faster than that, you actually run the risk of losing more muscle tissue, which will then actually cause more harm to the body and your results in the long run. We don't want that. We want, remember, slow and steady is sustainable, and sustainability is the most important aspect of this journey. If it's not sustainable, then you already know it's not going to work. So sustainability needs to come first and foremost. And if slow and steady is the only way you can sustain it, then that's the way we need to approach this. And remember, you're in this for life. Like, the objective of this game is to keep playing the game. There is no end point. There is no finish line, no rush. The point of getting healthy is to stay healthy, which means you need to build the habits, behaviors, and crush the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Establish the systems and routines that can serve you for life. There is no special outcome or result that will suddenly transform your life into magical sunshine or rainbows. This is not a one and done thing. You're in this forever, so treat it that way. And if you keep that in the forefront of your mind every time you get frustrated or scared, it makes this whole journey a lot less stressful. Now, let's talk plateaus. As I said, these are totally normal and they're supposed to happen. And a real plateau is defined as 4 to 6 weeks with 0 changes in your average weight. If this happens, retake a look, tackle your calories, proteins, steps, and workout consistency first before making any changes. I know so many women who will quit after 2 to 3 weeks of a plateau when 99% of the time they just need to clean up their consistency a little bit. Maybe you got a little complacent, maybe you started taking things a little bit for granted and just didn't realize maybe you were slipping a little bit. Just re-up that consistency, re-engage that. And then if you reach that 6-week mark with an 80% consistency or better, then reduce the calories by 10 to 15%, mostly from carbs and a little bit of fat, never protein, and then just keep going. Finally, once you have finally lost that 25 pounds, hitting your calorie goal, hitting your protein goal, eating fruits and vegetables, whole foods, and then you're getting better steps, right? You're working out consistently. You're at least 80% or better in all of those areas. Then you'll finally lose that 25 pounds. And once that 25 pounds is lost, we need to learn how to keep it off forever. And so finally, we go into the phase 3 of the program, which is the live it phase. Finally, we shift into living with these new results. People lose weight all the time. However, it's keeping it off. That's the hard part. We know this. That's the problem that we solve for you in this 3rd phase that you never really see get taught anywhere else. Because if somebody else teaches you that, guess what? That means you'll gain the weight back. You won't gain the weight back. And if they don't teach it to you, you do gain the weight back, and then you come back to them because their program worked for you already, and they know that they can keep you on this endless cycle, right? I don't want that for you. This is why this video exists for free on the internet. Anyone can watch it. This never gets taught anywhere else, which means this way, by following this, by doing this, you'll actually be able to keep the weight off and never struggle again, right? You'll never struggle again with this. And if that sounds good, let's dive in. Phase 3 actually looks a lot like phase 1 in the sense that we're dieting long-term is a stressor on the body. We need to recover from that because we just did that. And thankfully, if you've been following everything to the T from phase 2 that I just talked about, the damage is going to be minimal, which is awesome. Now, we need to come out of that, but we need to come out of it slowly because now your body is primed to soak up calories again. So we're going to use a reverse diet again, though perhaps maybe a little bit more aggressive so we can get to baseline faster. And the idea is to maintain again for long enough for the body to recognize this is its new normal and that this is where it lives so it can optimize itself at this new body weight. This is also where you shift back to intuitive eating, since by now you're so used to looking and preparing proper portion sizes that you've completely retrained your intuition when it comes to food choices, when it comes to portion sizes. And this is also where I work with my clients to develop this all-season plan, this all-season pass, right? This is where it comes into play big time because this is where we actually come to with an action plan that we can put into place to match pretty much anything life has to throw you. Things like parties, barbecues, family gatherings, Christmas parties, holidays, anniversaries, vacations, summer vacation, whatever it is. With all the amazing results that you've built for yourself and a plan that can tackle everything life throws at you, and you're armed with a skill set of intuitive eating, you're now set for life, right? We've made our body nice and healthy in phase 1. We've rebuilt that metabolic foundation so that now fat loss becomes easy and simple, almost effortless when we actually put the things together, the protein, the calories, the steps, and the workout. Once we have all those things, We also have then we actually start burning the body fat. We get down to where we want to go. We lose that 25 pounds, and now we're set for life because we've now developed a skill set. What's next? In my opinion, this is where most women should dive headfirst into building muscle. It really is your built-in life insurance, and it makes everything in life a lot easier, more enjoyable, and a lot less taxing on the body. I'll dive into the nutrition and fitness protocols for maximizing muscle growth while minimizing fat gain in another video. However, next week is moving week for me. So I might be a little bit quiet next week, but I'm still have little posts sprinkled in here and there. However, the week following on the 8th, Wednesday, the 8th, I have a special guest named Brianna Golden coming in to talk about setting realistic expectations and overcoming perfectionism. That'll be awesome. Once again, if you want to know more about the hopping on a strategy call with me, where we can actually build out a 90-day action plan to help you achieve your dream body, let me know. Comment down below, DM me on Facebook. Let's chat and I'll see how I can help. Beyond that, I hope you have yourself a wonderful day. Enjoy that sunshine. If it's sunny where you're at, it's beautiful where I'm at. So I'm going to go out and enjoy it right now, I think. So you take care and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.